A pleasant day, everyone. So today we're gonna tackle about evolution of Philippine Constitution. So first, let us define what is Constitution. So Constitution is defined as a set of fundamental principles or established precedents according to which a state or other organization is governed. Thus, the word itself means to be a part of a whole. The coming together of these entities into one group with the same principles and ideals. So Constitution this means that it is a set of given rules or principles that guide how a country or an organization is run. So it's like the foundation that tells the leader how he should or she should govern his people. So the word constitution also comes from the idea of being part of a whole. So this means that it is about bringing different people or groups together to form a nation or an organization. So all are agreeing to follow the same rules, beliefs, and goals. So in simple words, constitution is like a rule book, whereas they unite together and follow the same rules and principles. So there are seven constitutions that we will be discussed today. Let us start with the 1897 Constitution of Biak na Bato. So 1897 Constitution of Biak na Bato was promulgated by the Philippine Revolutionary Government on November 1, 1897, borrowed from Cuba and written by Isabelo Artacio and Felix Ferrer, written in Spanish, and then later on it was translated from Tagalog. So the Constitution of Biak na Bato was a provisionary constitution of the Philippine Republic during the Philippine Revolution and was promulgated by the Philippine Revolutionary Government on November 1, 1897. So it was made and written by Isabelo Artacio and Felix Fer and was borrowed from Cuba and written in Spanish, then later on then translated to Tagalog. The branches of government. So Supreme Council. It was headed by the President, followed by the four department secretaries, the Interior, Foreign Affairs, Treasury, and War. So Supreme Council, which was vested with the power of the Republic, this council is usually composed of influential individuals or leaders who make important decisions for the Republic. As a whole, it was headed by a president and four departments. The four departments includes the Interior, Foreign Affairs, Treasury, and War. So Interior includes the managing of domestic issues such as law enforcement, local governance, and public administration. Ang Interior ang namamahala sa mga isyung panloob pam, tulad ng pagpapatupad ng batas, pamamahalang lokal at pampublikong administrasyon. Ito ang nagsisiguro na maayos ang pamamahala sa loob ng republika. Next is foreign affairs. So foreign affairs, ito ang namamahala sa mga interactions with other countries. With this department, it is responsible for handling the republic's relations. So ang foreign affairs ang namamahala sa pakikipag-ugnayan ng republika sa ibang bansa. So next, treasury includes collecting taxes, managing governance, revenue and expenditures, and overseeing monetary policy. So ang treasury ang nangangalap ng buwis na mamahala sa kita at gastusin ng gobyerno at tumitingin sa patakarang pinansyal. Tinitiyak din ng treasury na ito ay may sapat na pondo ang republika. So last is war. So this includes the organization and deployment of republic's armed forces as well as defense strategy and planning in times of conflict or war. Next. So next is the Consejo Supremo de Gracia y Justicia or Supreme Council of Grace and Justice. So the authority to make decision and affirm or disapproval sentences by other courts. So this also dictates rules for administrative justice. So the Consejo Supremo de Gracia y Justicia, or Supreme Council of Grace and Justice, which was given an authority to make decisions and affirm or disapprove the sentences rendered by other courts, and to dictate rules for the administration of justice. The Supreme Council of Grace and Justice, ito ang sangay na namamahala sa katarungan. It also had the authority to make decisions on legal matters, kung aaprubahan ba nila o hindi ang mga hatol ng mababang hukuman. Gumagawa rin ito ng mga patakaran para sa maayos na pagpapatupad ng hustisya. The Supreme Council of Grace and Justice also played a crucial role in upholding the rule of law and justice was administered fairly. So third was the Asamblea Representantes, or the Assembly of Representatives, to create new constitution and to elect new council or representative of people. So the Asamblea de Representantes, or Assembly of Representatives, which was to be convened after the revolution to create a new constitution and to elect a new council of government and representatives of the people. So one of the tasks of the Assembly of Representatives was to create a new constitution and outlining the structure of government and rights of the citizens and the distributions among governmental institutions. Another important responsibility of the Assembly of Representatives was to elect a new council of government. This council would likely serve as the executive branch of the government. One of its responsibilities also was implementing laws, administering the public affairs, and representing the country internationally, and serve as representatives of the people. So the Constitution of Biak na Bato was never fully implemented, since a truce, the Pact of Biak na Bato, was signed between the Spanish and Philippine Revolutionary Army in December 1897 under several key provisions agreed upon. One of these, which is agatong gibaligya ang Philippines sa Amerika, and this is the Treaty of Paris. So the primary source, or the preamble of the Biak na Bato Constitution. The preamble states that the revolution aimed to separate the Philippines from Spain and form an independent republic. On November 1, 1897, revolutionary leaders at Biak na Bato, representing the people's hopes, adopted the constitution to establish a new government. So the preamble of the Biak na Bato Constitution says that the goal of the Philippine Revolution, which started on August 24, 1896, was to separate the Philippines from Spain and create an independent republic called the Philippine Republic with its own government. It is also stated that in the name of the revolution and with the authority given by the Filipino people, the representatives of the revolution meet in Biak na Bato on November 1, 1897, to adopt a constitution that would serve as the foundation of this new government. So the Biak na Bato Constitution was ended because Aguinaldo agreed to a peace deal with Spain, went into exile, and the revolutionary government was dissolved. So it was then replaced by the 1899 Constitution, the Malolos Constitution.
Good day, everyone. So today we are going to talk about the 1899 Constitution, better known as the Malolos Constitution, the very first Philippine Constitution. So for our historical background, after the Biak na Bato Pact, what happened to the Filipino revolutionaries? So after signing the truce, which is agatong about sa Biak na Bato, the Filipino revolutionary leaders accepted a payment from Spain and went to exile in Hong Kong. So if atong i-recall tong amo ang report sa akong grupo, which is about sa proclamation of the Philippine independence, kuan pud mi nag-emphasize pud mi dito sa among report about sa Biak na Bato. So sa Biak na Bato, dito gi-exile si Emilio Aguinaldo in return kay tagaan ang mga Spaniards tagaan nila si Emilio Aguinaldo og katong mga tauhan, mga fellow Filipino revolutionaries pod nga og kwarta, which is mga 800,000 pesos. Pero ilang gihatag ato kay 400,000 pesos pa din. Ila na dayong ipaapas ag uban nga kwarta. So na-accept nila to. Then agi anang murag nagduda mangud pod si Emilio Aguinaldo. So nibalik siya sa Pilipinas. Pero kato lagi kanang maglisod mangud sila og kanang balik kay agi pod anang mga Spaniards nagdilbiya sila ato. But katong time nga wala silang Emilio Aguinaldo, nagplano na di ay ang mga Spaniards, which is agatong mock battle in Manila Bay. Spaniards were defeated by the Americans on May 1, 1898. So mock battle siya because stage siya nga battle. Kanang ang mga nag-agree ang Americans o mga Spaniards nga ila ang stage ang ilang away kay dili manggod ganahan ang mga Spaniards ma-defeat sila sa mga Pilipinas. Mas okay pa nila ma-defeat sila sa mga Americans kaysa sa mga Filipinos. So kato nahitabo siya on May 1, 1898. Declaration of Philippine Independence by Emilio Aguinaldo on June 12, 1898. So kato pagkakuan kay ni balik man si Emilio Aguinaldo paghuman og away paghuman atong mock battle tabangan siya sa mga Americans. So feeling ni Emilio Aguinaldo nagid sila good connection sa mga Americans. So mao to murag nakuan pud siya murag nagaan iyang loob, murag nag-grateful kay siya sa mga Americans to the point nga gihimo nila di ba if i-recall nato to ang report agatong flag, Philippine flag, agatong blue o red kay gikan man to sa mga Americans daw para grateful lagi ang mga Filipino sa mga Americans. But then kato na murag na gitraidor man sila sa mga Americans kay dito na nahitabo ang Philippine-American War where gi-occupy na sa mga Americans ang Pilipinas. Next, so independence needs more than a declaration. So it also needs a structure, formation, and key dates. So that's why the first Philippine Republic was formed. And then the Malolos Congress was elected. So ang dinha sa Malolos Congress, after gi-declare ni Aguinaldo ang independence, dito dahil iyang gi-follow ang kanang paghimo o constitution. The very first Philippine Republic. Elections were held from June 23 to September 10, 1898. And dito gi-elect ang Malolos Congress. Dayon, dito na rin sila, naghimo na rin sila draft sa Constitution on September 17, 1898. So, dito, naghimo sila ang mga naghimo og naghimo og Constitution kay ag mga kuan man pod mga wealthy and educated Filipinos. So dito gihimo sila og Constitution on September 17. Then daghan pa kay kanang process gipabalik gipabalik po ni Emilio Aguinaldo tong mga constitution kay naapod siya gipang add or basi na po siya gipang kuha ato. Then approved by the Congress on November 29, 1898, and then promulgated by Aguinaldo on January 21, 1899. The overview of the Constitution. So the political Constitution of 1899 was written in Spanish. So agkato lagi daw ang political constitution kay Spanish ilang gigamit kay mao man na ang language nga gigamit nila sa una. And then 39 articles divided into 14 titles. Dayon 8 transitional provisions to guide the government during its early stages. Dayon patterned from the Spanish Constitution of 1812. So kanang Spanish Constitution kay kanang may very first constitution sa Spain and the earliest codified constitution in the world. So ang word nga codified nga constitution kay mao na siya moy murag isa bitaw ang mga murag one document na siya nga makita nimo tanan nga mga rules and principles sa government sa nagikuan sa ato ang country. And then si Felipe Calderon was the main author of the Constitution. So foreign influences, no constitution is made in kanang isolation. We also learn from other countries. Charters of Belgium, Mexico, Brazil, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Guatemala, French Constitution of 1793. So kana may mga countries nga gipang dinha gi-influence na siya big factor sa paghimo sa constitution, very first constitution, which is agatong Malolos Constitution. So of course, if naay foreign naapod tay local nga influences, which are the Cartilla and Sangguniang Hukuman, Charters of Laws and Morals of the Katipunan by Emilio Jacinto, Biak na Bato Constitution 1897 by Isabelo Artacho, Mabini's Constitutional Program on 1898, Provisional Constitution by Mariano Ponce, 1898, Autonomy Projects of Pedro Paterno, 1898. Kanang as you can see, mga mga great leaders mangyud ang naghimo ani nga constitution kaning mga influences. So dito nakatabang yun ang mga works nilang Isabelo Artacho, nilang Mariano Ponce sa paghimo sa Malolos Constitution. Primary source, preamble of the political constitution of 1899. So the preamble states that we, the representatives of the Filipino people, lawfully convened in order to establish justice, provide for common defense, promote the general welfare, and ensure the benefits of liberty, imploring the aid of the sovereign legislator of the universe for the attainment of these ends, have voted, decreed, and sanctioned the following political constitution. So karon atong i-break down ang mga rights and principles sa Constitution. First, ang Title 4, Natural Rights and Popular Sovereignty of Filipinos. So dito makita nato nga naadgi power ang mga tawo. Naatay freedom para mo sa atong rights and mga equality nga ato ang deserve. So Title 3, Article 5, Freedom and equality of beliefs, separation of church and states. So, di ba, sa una kay kanang ang church ag state kay isa man gina sila sa during sa Spanish rule sa ang agkatong pag-colonize sa mga Spaniards sa Pilipinas. And then karon dinhi state nila nga i-separate na ang church and state. Because ang sa una mo gud dako man influence ang church sa pag-govern sa mga Espanyol sa atoa. Murag gikan nila gyud murag mo guide mangitag guidance ang mga ang government sa mga church, sa mga friars, sa mga clergy, mga inana. And then Title 2, Article 4, form of government. So first is the legislative, next executive and judicial. So we should always keep in mind nga ang legislative kay mao nay maghimo og laws. Ang executive kay mao na mo mag-enforce sa mga laws, and then ang judicial kay mao nay mag-interpret sa mga laws. So next na slide kay legislative branch. Unicameral body, Assembly of Representatives. So the legislative power was held by unicameral or one-chamber assembly. The Assembly of mauna na ang Assembly of Representatives. Members elected every 4 years. Secretaries of government had seats in the Assembly. Assembly met annually for at least 3 months. Bills introduced by Assembly or President. So these actually matters because dinhi makita nato ang government kung unsaon nila pag-build sa idea of representation of active lawmaking. So legislative powers. Ang assembly na sila power to select own officers, naapod sila right to censure and interpellation. So ang censure kay mao na ang pag-critic or pag-question sa mga government officials. Naapod sila right to impeach president, cabinet members, chief justice of the Supreme Court, solicitor general. So as you can see, murag wa gyud mahimo ang president pwede gid siya ma-impeach since no one was above the law, not even ang kanang president sa country. Executive branch. Power vested in the president. Kanang president kay gi-elect na sila sa mga constituent assembly. And then also they are combined representatives and special delegates. Ang president ay pod kay naapod siya 4-year term with no re-election. So dili siya ma-re-elect ang president. No vice president in case of vacancy. President selected by the Constitution Assembly or Constituent Assembly. In case of vacancy, president selected by the Constituent Assembly. So actually gihimo ni siya nganong na wala gi-re-elect ang mga presidents balik kay kanang aron na ay ang purpose man gud ana kay para natay service long-term rule and ay kanang mo-prevent ang long-term rule and ma-promote pod ang service o para dili walay power nga makita ang mga unsa ni walay murag dili mo rule ang power kas as sa service. So final note, the 1899 Malolos Constitution was never enforced due to ongoing war. So sadly kay wala siya na continue because agi anang ongoing war, which is agatong Philippine-American War. And then Philippines became a US territory after the Treaty of Paris. So mao to agatong agreement sa mga Spaniards o mga Americans nga ilang ihatag ang ilang ibaligya ang Pilipinas for $20 million. And then sovereignty transferred on December 10, 1898. So mao to dito na that is when gi-transfer na sa mga Spaniards ang Pilipinas para sa Americans. Okay, thank you.
So, 1935, the Commonwealth Constitution. I'll be presenting the historical developments that led to the 1935 Commonwealth Constitution. This was a crucial step in the Philippines' journey from being a colony to becoming an independent nation. A little background, which is the U.S. colonization. On 1898 Treaty of Paris, the U.S. gains control over the Philippines, which after the Treaty of Paris, Spain ceded the Philippines to the U.S., and the U.S. ruled the country first under military government until 1901, then transitioned to civil governance. There are two acts in the Commonwealth Constitution. First is the Philippine Organic Act of 1902. This is the first organic law for the Philippines. It created a bicameral legislature, which is the Philippine Commission, Upper House, and the Philippine Assembly, which is the Lower House. So this Philippine Organic Act of 1902 also introduced a bill of rights for Filipinos and appointed two non-voting resident commissioners on U.S. Congress. This act laid the foundation for democratic governance in the Philippines. It created a bicameral legislature and included a Bill of Rights, an early sign of political reform. It also gave the Philippines two non-voting seats in the U.S. Congress. So a bicameral legislature, or what we call the two house of the Senate. So the next is the Jones Law, or what we call the Philippine Autonomy Act of 1916. So the Jones Law replaced the U.S. appointed Philippine Commission with an elected Senate. It created a fully elected legislature and most importantly, contained the U.S. promise to eventually grant Philippine independence. Next is the Hare-Hawes Cutting Act of 1932. So the Hare-Hawes Cutting Act promised Philippine independence, opposed by Manuel L. Quezon and rejected by the Philippine Senate. This act was the first official offer of independence by the U.S. However, it was opposed by Senate President Manuel Quezon, who criticized some of its terms, leading to its rejection by the Philippine Senate. Next is the Tidings-McDuffie Act of 1934. It is also known as the Philippine Independence Act, authorized the Constitutional Convention to draft a Philippine Constitution, and Claro M. Recto elected as president of the convention. In 1934, a revised law, which is the Tidings-McDuffie Act, was passed. It authorized the formation of the Constitutional Convention in the Philippines to prepare for self-governance. So Mr. Claro M. Recto was elected or chosen as the convention's president. Last is the drafting of the 1935 Constitution. The Constitution was drafted to ensure the United States approval and to meet the conditions for independence. This marked the official start of the Commonwealth government, laying the groundwork for full sovereignty. Having here the transition framework from U.S. rule to Philippine independence. So the 1935 Constitution was a very important step for the Philippines in preparing for its independence from the United States. It created the Commonwealth government, which served as a transition period from 1935 to 1946. The goal was to train Filipinos in self-governance before becoming a fully independent country. And the preamble emphasized the justice, liberty, and democracy with divine providence in the national welfare and in achieving national welfare and independence. So in the structure of government, in 1935, at first, we have the unicameral National Assembly, and the president has 6-year term with no re-election. But in 1940, which has changed and amends some things, and the unicameral becomes a bicameral Congress, which has the Senate and the House of Representatives. And the president has a four-year term and one re-election allowed. The creation of independent electoral commission is also added. So in suffrage and rights. So at that time, only men who could read and write and were at least 21 years old could vote. But after 2 years, in 1937, the suffrage extended to women after a plebiscite. So after 2 years, women can vote na po. In foreign influences, dominantly American model, it is incorporated with the elements from Malala's Constitution, German, Spanish, Mexican, South American Constitution, and unwritten English Constitution. Even though the Constitution was mainly based on the American system, it also took ideas from the Malala's Constitution and from countries like Germany, Spain, Mexico, and even England. Ratification and leadership in Commonwealth Constitution. So the Constitution was finished in February 1935, approved by the US President Franklin D. Roosevelt on March 25, 1935. And then Manuel L. Quezon was elected as the first president of the Commonwealth in September 1935. World War II and independence. During World War II, the Commonwealth government was disrupted when Japan invaded the Philippines. But after the war, the Philippines finally became fully independent on July 4, 1946.
So, hi ma'am, hi everyone. So, my topic is the 1973 constitutional authoritarianism. Marcos and the 1973 Constitution. 1965, Ferdinand Marcos elected as president. So, Ferdinand Marcos is the 10th president of the Republic of the Philippines. Then 1969, re-elected amid campaign overspending. So, dito ay nahalal siya ulit bilang presidente dahil sa paglabis na paggastos gamit ang pera ng gobyerno sa kanyang kampanya. So, November 20, 1970, Constitutional Convention elections held. So dito sa November 20, 1970, dito nagsimula ang halalan or election sa kung sino ang mga miyembro o sino ang dapat sa posisyon at sino ang maging presidente sa convention na yon. So June 1, 1971, convention begins, led by Carlos P. Garcia and succeeded by Diosdado Macapagal. So, in June 1, 1971, doon nagsimula ang kanilang convention, ang kanilang pag meeting. So, ang naging presidente sa convention na yon sa 1917 na election nila ay si Carlos P. Garcia, which is he is the 8th president of the Republic of the Philippines. Subalit, sa kasamaang palad ay siya ay namatay at pinalitan siya ni Diosdado Macapagal bilang presidente sa convention. So martial law and the Constitution. In 1972, Marcos declares martial law. So sa 1972, doon idineklara ni Marcos ang martial law o ang batas militar. Some convention delegates arrested or exiled. So some delegates of the convention ay ipinatapon at inaresto dahil sa ito ay against or sumasalungat sa mga plano ni Marcos na gusto nila na ibalik ang demokrasya sa bansa. So Marcos, knowing that Marcos is dictator, so Marcos influenced the drafting of the constitution to retain power. So may mga ulat na si Marcos lang mismo ang nagdikta at may mga dokumento na minapula niya upang mapanatili niya ang kapangyarihan. And then November 1972, proposed 1973 Constitution approved by convention. So noong November 1972, doon inaprubahan ang kanyang pinopose na 1973 Constitution. 1973 Constitution changes. So shift to parliamentary style government. So pinalitan ng parliamentary style government. Ang parliamentary style government, ito ay isang uri ng pamahalaan na kung saan ang kapangyarihang executive o nagpapatupad ng batas ay nagmumula o nakasalalay sa legislative, gumagawa ng batas. At ang kapangyarihang legislatibo o legislative ay nasa isang unicameral na pambansang asembleya na ang mga miyembro ay inihahalal sa loob ng 6 na taon. Ang Pangulo ay magiging simbolikong pinuno lamang ng Estado at pipiliin mula sa mga miyembro ng pambansang asembleya. So, plebiscite postponed, replaced with citizen assemblies. So, ang plebiscite, ito ay isang uri ng botohan na direktang gusto ng mga tao. Hindi ito isang eleksyon na ibinuboto ang mga kandidato, kundi ito ay ang botohan ng publiko upang mabago at masunod ang gusto ng mga tao. So replace with citizen assemblies. So pinalitan ito ng pinalitan ng citizen assemblies, which is ang citizen assemblies, ito ay ang pagtaas kamay sa mga tao kung sang-ayon ba sila sa na pagpapatuloy sa martial law o batas militar. Pinalitan ito ni Marcos dahil sa natakot siya matakot siyang i-ratify ng mga tao ang i-ratify o i-disagree ng mga tao o iwala ang 1973 Constitution. Kaya pinalitan niya ito ng citizen assemblies. So, January 1973, Constitution declared ratified by Marcos. So, amendments to the Constitution. the 1976 amendments allow. Maraming beses na binago. Noong 1976, pinayagan ng mga citizen assemblies ang pagpapatuloy ng batas militar at pinagtibay ang mga sumusunod. Isang interim batasang pambansa kapalit ng interim National Assembly. Ang Pangulo na rin ang magiging ministro. So, Marcos as both President and Prime Minister. So, si Marcos na ang naging presidente at naging Prime Minister o unang ministro sa bansa. Marcos to legislate alone under martial law. So, si Marcos na rin ang nag-legislate o gumagawa ng batas mag-isa sa ilalim ng martial law batas militar. So, in 1980, judiciary retirement age extended to 70. So, 1980 in-extend nila ang retirement ng maestrado sa 70 na taon. So, 1981, semi-presidential system introduced. So, ito ay sistemang parlamentaryo tungo sa French style na semi-presidential system. So, kung saan ibinalik sa Pangulo ang kapangyarihang ehekutibo at siya ay direktang inihahalal. So, 1984, Executive Committee removed. Bumuo rin ng isang Executive Committee na binubuo ng punong ministro at 14 nitong mga miyembro upang na siyang nagsisilbing gabinete ng Pangulo. Noong 1984, Executive Committee removed. VP or Vice President position. Sige, sumpayan. Patay. So, they removed the Executive Committee at ibinalik ang Vice President na position. So, the real outcomes of the 1973 Constitution. One is function as an authoritarian presidential system, not parliamentary. So, kung babalikan natin, sinabi doon na binago nila into parliamentary style government. Ngunit kasinungalingan lang pala ang lahat ng 'yon. At ito ay ginamit lamang ni Marcos upang pamunuan at suluhin ang bansa. The number 2 is abolish Senate. Centralize all power to Marcos. So, hiniwalay ni Marcos ang Senado upang walang makakasagabal at walang pipigil sa kanya para dahil doon ay na-centralize niya ang lahat ng kapangyarihan sa bansa. So, number 3, Constitution used to legitimize dictatorship. So, sinabi ko na function as an authoritarian presidential system. So, doon nga sinabi ko na sinolo niya at ginawa niyang diktador at siya mismo ang diktador at ang bansa ginawa niyang dictatorship. So, assassination of Ninoy Aquino. In August 1983, Ninoy Aquino assassinated upon return from the US. So, itong si Ninoy Aquino, ito ay isang leader ng oposisyon. Siya ang leader ng oposisyon at pinakamalakas na kalaban ni Marcos. So, suspected government military involvement. So, hinalaan ang gobyerno at ang mga military dahil sa halata naman na kalaban nila si Ninoy. So, napakahalata na galing ito sa matataas na posisyon. So, sparked nationwide outrage and unity against dictatorship. So ito ang naging dahilan at ito ang nag-spark o ang punot dulo upang mag-unite ang mga tao laban sa diktador na si Marcos. So, EDSA People Power Revolution. 1986, Marcos calls for snap elections marked by fraud. So, dahil sa lumalalang pagpoprotesta ng mga tao at pagtipon-tipon, pag-unite nila laban sa Marcos. Napilitan si Marcos na mag-snap elections. Ngunit, idineklara niya na siya ang nanalo sa eleksyon na iyon. Dahil sa ito ay dinaya niya. So, military rebellions triggers mass protest. So, dito, nag-trigger na may mga rebuilding sundalo na nagtangkang labanan o magkudita laban kay Marcos. Ngunit sa kasamang palad, hindi ito nagtagumpay. So, EDSA revolution forces Marcos into exile. So, EDSA revolution forces, so dito na nagsimula, dito na lumusob ang mga tao sa mga Marcos dahil hindi na nila ito gusto at gusto nila itong ipatanggal sa posisyon. So, napilitan ang Marcos na lumipat sa ibang bansa. So, on February 25, 1986, Corazon Aquino becomes the president. So, Corazon Aquino, siya ang asawa ni Ninoy Aquino na pinapatay. So, itong si Corazon Aquino ay isa sa mga kandidato sa snap elections na ginawa ni Marcos. So, siya ang naging presidente noong February 25, 1986. At yan lang po. Maraming salamat.
So next is the 1987 Constitution after martial law. New Constitution. So first, why a new Constitution? Actually, there are three choices. First is to get back to the old 1935 Constitution or keep the 1973 Constitution but fix and change it, and then make a new Constitution. President Cory Aquino decided to make a new Constitution. Why? Because it is to break away from the Marcos dictatorship and reflect the people's hopes for freedom and justice. So, Freedom Constitution was used temporarily in 1986. So, this Freedom Constitution was proclaimed by President Cory Aquino and it lasts for a year. It allowed her to govern legally while waiting for the new constitution to be finished.
It gave her some power like issuing decrees. If you ever wondering what is decrees or decree is a law made by a leader or like President Cory Aquino without the Congress. 1987 Constitution. On 1986, a constitutional commission was formed. This constitutional commission, there are 48 members there appointed by President Cory Aquino from different walks of life, like teachers, lawyers, business people, farmers, laborers, social workers, and many more. They made a new constitution, restoring democracy, um, promoting justice and freedom, and prevents the abuse of power. And then on February 2, 1987, the new constitution was adopted. It was approved by the Filipino people through a national plebiscite or voting. The new constitution was the highest law in the land, reflecting the goals of democracy, human rights, and prevents the return of dictatorship after martial law. And then the 1987 Constitution has a preamble and 18 articles. It includes the rules on government, rights of citizens, and how power is used. And by the way, preamble is like a introduction to a constitution and what was the constitution made for and what the Filipino people hope to achieve. And also, the 1987 Constitution states what Philippines is a democratic and republican state. It means that the power belongs to the people and the leader only serve the people's will. And also the leaders is chosen through a election and must serve the people or the public good. So, three branches of government. The 1987 Constitution divides power into three branches. First is the executive branch, enforces the law. Second is the legislative branch, makes the laws, and the judiciary branch interprets the law. This three has its own role and check each other's power to avoid abuse. So first is the executive branch. In the executive branch, president is the head of the government and state. She or he leads the country, but now with limited powers to avoid dictatorship or martial law. And here, martial law can only last for 60 days, and it must be approved or cancelled by the Congress and reviewed by the Supreme Court. And then the president and vice president serve only one 6-year term. So, in the legislative branch, Congress is divided into Senate and House of Representatives. In the Senate, there are 24 members and can serve no more than 2 consecutive 6-year terms. And the House Representatives, there are composed of district representatives. District representatives, they represent a particular geographic area and makes up around 80% of the total number of representatives and serve for 3 years. And then in the legislative branch, they made or the new constitution made a partyless system that allows minority groups to join law making. The meaning of party list is that it gives a chance for small groups like farmers, women, youth, laborers, and indigenous people to be represented in Congress. Filipinos can vote for a party or group that stands for their concerns. This helps make the government more inclusive and fair, not just for the rich or power. Ang example ani is the Kasambahay Party List and many more. And also, the Congress can pass laws. The Congress has powers like this. It means that the Congress is the part of the government that makes the rules and laws for the country to follow. And it can also declare a war. It can declare a war if both the Senate and the House of Representatives must agree by voting. And two-thirds of them must say yes before it becomes official. This is to make sure that big decisions like this, like a war, are carefully thought about and not abused. Last is the judiciary branch. The Supreme Court has 15 justices appointed by the president. Um, these 15 justices is from a list chosen by the Judicial and Bar Council. The Judicial and Bar Council is a group that helps choose judges and justices for the courts, including the Supreme Court. Um, they check if laws or government actions are constitutional because this is to protect our rights and ensure fairness. And it also supervises all lower courts and makes sure that justice system works properly nationwide.
So good day. So my report is a continuation of Miss Digit report, which is the Constitution, the established of the three independent constitutional commission. First is Civil Service Commission. Second is the Commission on Election. Third is Commission in Audit. So first is Civil Service Commission. So a Civil Service Commission is a central agency in charge of a government. It handles or it handles government workers. It also makes sure that the government workers are qualified, honest, and hardworking. So, example, for example, ang Civil Service Commission is, ako, if I will apply a government sa government, so the Civil Service Commission needs or requires me to take the Civil Service exam. If I will pass or that exam, then I am eligible to work in the government. Then, if someone or if I will report some abuse, an example of my boss being abused his power and being unfair of all workers. So the Civil Service Commission will take action and investigate on that specific government worker. Because the goal of a Civil Service Commission is to protect the rights of a government worker. Next is the Commission on Election. So Commission on Election enforce and administered all elections, law, and regulations. So, ang goal ng Commission on Election is to protect democracy by ensuring that the people can choose their leaders fairly. So example is election ang na-held atong May 12, 2025. So ang election mo'y mag-manage ato nga walay pandaya nga mahitabo or para malikayan ang mga kuan but in that time pagkaugma daghan as we kuan observe daghan kay nagreklamo because of the machine nga ginagamit kay murag dili mao ang gipanggawas sa mga like gicalled ang tawag nila do is resibo. So ang commission on election mao na siya mo'y mag-take action pod ato nga certain issue. Next is the commission and audit. So commission and audit or the COA which all which examines all funds, transaction, and properly accounts of the government and its agencies. So, kaning COA or the Commission and Audit is mo siya mag-check how government money is being spent. So, ang COA is really needed to prevent corruption and misuse of funds So example, if the mayor is ay example ani is agatong ag first issue pa mga months ago agatong Kasara Duterte nga confidential fund nga ginakuan gisampahan sa Commission and Audit about ato nga issue. So next, changing the constitution or charter change or CHACHA. So um CHACHA is so there are three ways of changing the constitution in Article 18 of the 1987 Constitution. So there are three ways of changing the constitution. First is a constitutional assembly or the CONAS, constitutional convention or the CONCON, and people initiative or the PI. So these three methods allows either the government or the people to suggest and changes to the rules of the country. So first is the Constitutional Assembly or the CONAS. So Congress, Senate, and House of Representatives. So this means that that both parts of a Congress, the Senate, and the House of Representatives will take part of the process. So next is propose amendments to the Constitution. So Congress will discuss and suggest changes to the Constitution. And they do this by voting proposed amendments on revision. So next is it is not clear, however, if Congress is to vote as a single body or separately. So kanisha, the 1987 Constitution uh, does not say if the Senate and the House of Representatives will vote separately or together. So this caused confusion and debate about the correct procedure. So ang CONCON is a one way to propose changes to the Philippine Constitution. It involves Congress itself doing work of proposing amendments in the revision. Example ani is a law. If a lawmaker wants to extend a term for a public officials, then they can use CONCON or the Constitutional Assembly to propose that change. Mo na siya gamit sa CONCON or the Constitutional Assembly. So in summary, ang mag-propose is the lawmakers. So easy nila ni siya for Congress and criticize for bias. Ang gina-propose lang ani is amendments and revision. So next is a constitutional Congress upon vote of two-thirds of its members calls for a constitutional convention. So this means that so this means that both both of the Senate and the House of Representatives must agree or must start the CONCON. To do this, they need two-thirds votes of all members of Congress and they must vote yes to start the CONCON. So once ma-approve ng CONCON, the Congress will officially call for a permission of a CONCON. Next is submit to electorate the question calling a convention through a majority vote of its members. So instead of calling a CONCON directly, the Congress can ask the people if they want CONCON. So to do this, para mahitabo ni, they need to, they must both they must vote to hold the public vote or the uh, plebiscite. So when we say plebiscite, is the direct vote of all members of the electorate on an important public question such as the change in the constitution. Mo na siya ang meaning sa plebiscite. Next. So the CONCON delegates will propose amendments or the revisions of the constitution and not a congress. So the people who will study, so the people who will study and suggest the changes to the constitution are called a CONCON delegates. So these delegates um, are different from the senators and a congressman. So Congress only starts the process, but it's delegates who will write the proposal. So next is the 1987 Constitution does not provide for a method by which a delegates to CONCON are chosen. So the Constitution does not explain how to pick the delegates or the CONCON delegates. So it doesn't say if they should elected by the people or appointed by the someone. So so para makakuan og delegates, maka-choose og delegates or the CONCON delegates, the Congress must propose a or must create a law or a rules to decide how to choose or delegates or how the delegates will be selected. So note i-note lang pod nato nga no sa karon pa is the constitutional convention or the CONCON. There's no delegate have been chosen yet because Congress must pass a law that explain how and when to select them. So next is the people initiative or the PI. So amendments of the constitution may be proposed by the people upon a petition of at least 12% of a total number of registered votes. So this means that Filipino citizens can start a process to change the constitution. So to do this, they must gather signatures from at least 12% of a total number of a total voters in the country, registered voters in the country. So, and also at least 3% voters from every legislative district must sign the petition. So, once those signatures collected, the proposal is submitted for approval through a national vote. So, mag-plebiscite na po sila. Next is the no amendments is allowed more than once every 5 years since a successful PI. So the Constitution says that the people initiative can only happen once every 5 years. So these rules prevents the Constitution from being changed too often or too easily by a frequent initiatives. Next is so the 1987 the 1987 Constitution direct the Congress to enact a law to implement provisions of a PI which has not yet materialized. So the Constitution requires Congress to make a law that explain how people initiatives should work, like rules, process, etc. mga ingana. But until now, a full in the clear law has not been passed. So it's hard for citizens to use PI. for a constitutional change. So this makes people's initiative hard to use in practice, even it's allowed by the Constitution. So ang people initiatives is a way for ordinary citizens like us, not a Congress, to propose changes to the Constitution. So kinsay mag-propose ani is ang mga citizens or the people, not a Congress. So kaning people's initiative is very hard to organize because of as I stated earlier, wala siya walay law nga napasa for us to use for us as use as a guide para magamit na to ang people initiative or a PI. So ang gina-propose lang aning people's initiative or the PIs are only amendments only. So next is changing the constitution. Amendments or revision of the constitution shall be valid only when ratified by the majority of votes cast in a national referendum. So any proposed change to the constitution, whether it is a small change or amendments or a big change or a revision, must be approved by the people. So these approvals happen through a national referendum by which nationwide vote. In this vote, all Filipino citizens who are registered voters can say yes or no for the proposed changes. So the change becomes official or valid only if the majority, more more than 50% of the people's votes say yes. For example, nay nay 20 million nga voters ang entire ang Philippines. So they needed to dapat makakuha sila og 50% nga votes from sa entire nation. So next is only the House of Representatives can initiate the impeachment of a president, members of a Supreme Court, and constitutionally protected public officials such as ombudsmans. The Senate will then try the impeachment case. This is another to safeguard and promote moral and ethical conduct in the government. So the Senate acts like a court. So only the House of Representatives can start a file on an impeachment. So the people who can be impeached are the President, the Supreme Court of Justice, the ombudsmans, and the government and the top government officials protected of the Constitution. After the House approved the impeachment, the case is sent to the Senate. So the Senate acts like a court. They will listen to evidence of trial and decide if the official is guilty. So this process meant to be checked and balanced to make sure that even the highest officials follows the law and act ethically. So when we say impeachment, impeachment means agatong mga officials nga gina-abuse na nila ang ilang power and gina-abuse na nila ilang power and murag nang murakot na sila sa atong country. So we could ang may example na to is agatong impeachment of the vice president nga ginasampahan og daghang kaso sa COA, many more. Pero ang goal ato is not to impeach Sara, but to stop Sara Duterte on para mapugnan si Sara Duterte nga mulansar sa 2028. Mao na siya main goal atong nga impeachment. So we note that the House files the case, the Senate holds the trial, and the goal is to keep government official honest and accountable. That's all.
The 1987 Constitution, the three methods for amendment, the Constitution of Assembly, Constitutional Convention, and People Initiative are already discussed. Jose Almonte tried to attend under the presidential of Fidel V. Ramos. The reason to change the system of government and open economy in 1995. They did draft a new constitution secretly, but the result failed media exposed the draft. Burma Group People Initiative in 1997 to extend President Ramos' term through People Initiative. They collect signature to trigger Carter change, but Supreme Court stopped it. No edible law. Enabling law. President Joseph Estrada in 1999 to serve economic and judicial provision of the Constitution, formed a study commission, but filled blocked by critic and public opposition. President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo and House Speaker Jose D. Venencia in 2005 to shift to parliamentary system through Constitution Assembly. House of Representatives pushed for change without Senate approval, but filled strong public protest since as term extension. Speaker Feliciano Belmonte, under by Presidential Benigno Aquino III in 2011, to open economy to more foreign investment, they proposed an economic character change, left foreign ownership limit, but failed. President Aquino was not supportive.
So, continuing the report, after the 5 attempts to amend the 1987 Constitution, also President Rodrigo tried to amend. He became president on 2016 to 2022. He was known as advocating the federalism. Later on, we talk about what is federalism and centralized governance, which is it mentioned to my report later. So, when Duterte tried to amend the 1987 Constitution. So, Duterte amended the 1987 Constitution to push the federalism to fix Mindanao conflict and distribute wealth. Duterte saw how conflict the Mindanao, especially the Muslim areas like Maguindanao, Marami, Sulu, and Basilan. He was a former mayor at Davao City, and today he was a mayor. He was new elected mayor at Davao City, he saw firsthand the effect of centralized governance. So, what did Duterte to amend the 1987 Constitution? Should he create a consultative committee or COMCON of a legal and political expert to review the purpose changes to the 1987 Constitution? And it proposed dividing the country into 18 federated regions, with each on local government, and that proposal was sent to the Congress, but at the end, the amendment was failed because of the four factors. So the amendment failed because it is no plebiscite, and it had four factors. First factor was the lack of clear public support. Many Filipinos did not fully understand what is federalism. So, kabutabo siya nga daghan ang mga Filipino nga wala na kabalo unsa ng federalism, maybe wala na nila na-discuss unsa para asa ang federalism. Number two was fear of term extension. Some believe that Duterte might use charter change to stay in power longer. So many people believe that Duterte used the charter change to stay longer in power. Then that number three, political division. Congress was divided on the issue, and some senators did not support the change. So not only the attempt to amend was the issue of the Congress, but also there are many issues. And some of the senators did not support the change or to change our system to get to federalism. And the last factor was COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic shifted the government's focus away from constitution reform. We know that on 2019, the COVID started, and 2020 it uh, it pandemic was the big issue in our country. So, what is centralized governance or unitary system and federalism? So, centralized governance and unitary system is the same. Our governance today was a unitary system. All major powers and decision came from national government, which based in Manila or Malacanang. Uh, Local government units like provinces, cities, and municipalities depends on the national government for most of their budget, laws, and aid projects. Most decision and money are controlled by the national government in Manila. So, kabaluta, tanan is kontrolado sa Malacanang o sa Manila. For example, region sends taxes to Manila and wait for the budgets to come back. So, mo magina sa tuwa karon ang region is ang all taxes nga nakuha sa region is then sa Manila, and maghulat na din ang mga taga-region because unsay ibalik sa pilay budget nga ibalik sa Manila. So, Delta areas like NCR get more attention and projects since sila man ang mas duol o mas makita sa Malacanang o unsay ang kahimtang. Then, while poor regions wait longer or get less support, especially in Mindanao or far regions or provinces, because layo man ta, so less ang makuha na itong budget, less ang support na itong makuha, and sabot na itong mga lain pang mga laging lugar. So, federalism in the Philippines. Mo ni ang gusto nang i-propose ni Rodrigo Duterte. So, unsa din ang federalism? Federalism is the power shared between the region and the national government. So, ang region is responsible for industry, education, healthcare, and on finances, and also in the local laws. And national government handles national interests like foreign policy and defense. So, ang federalism na-ashy tanang benefits. Like, first benefits was the Mindanao solution. It could provide a solution to the long decades conflict. So we know that the Muslim majority areas in Mindanao, especially the regions like Solo, Maguindanao, Marawi, and Basilan, these conflicts has lasted for decades and involved armed group rebels and clashes with government forces. So kabalutan nga naagi uban sa mas dili ko nang hilabot sa Muslim pero naay uban nga kanang Muslim areas nga gubat gid siya like 'di ba atong ma-remember sa una na yung mga gubat like inana. Atod karon is gubat man siya pero mas okay na. So in federalism kay mahatagan man og equal ang bali man sa federalism is na siya ang region is na siya own power which is magama sila ila ang law sila magpadagan sa ilang region bali sila magpadagan sa tibuok kani nga region sila magpadagan silang ila ang kung unsa sila mo anang mo survive then. So muni ang isa nga nakita ni Duterte nga masolusyonan ang Mindanao so that the Mindanao, the Muslim majoritarian areas controlled over the land and resources, recognized of their culture and religion. Some posts wanted separation from the Philippines. So, namang ibang grupo nga, gusto silang ma-separate sila, nga gusto silang naa sila own laws sa ila ang albar. Then, ang uban po is gusto lang self-rule ka gusto sila mismo ang padagan sila ang region. So if Muslim areas in Mindanao had more control of their own government, so they might stop fighting and live a peaceful life within the Philippines. Next is equal wealth, address wealth inequality less depends on Manila. Since ang taxes sa region is nara man siya sa region, di naman siya send dito sa national which is sa Manila. So nara tanan ang kwarta o nga matigom is nara siya kwarta nga taxes nga matigom is nara siya permi sa region. So inequality na siya kay iya na lang man dayon. Then dili na ta magdepende sa Manila, unsay ihatag sa Manila. Then tailored solution. Each region can have solutions suited to its unique content. So namang iya man gyud ta og ganang panghunahuna like ang isa ka region nga agi na siya solution nga mas okay and suited nga unsay naa dito so kanang nga bitaw mas okay nga solution. Then direct funding. It is for the regions on like the region on projects because direct funding kay ang kwarta di naman mas dito sa lain nara man siya diri sa which is the region so dali na. Then bisan pa na ay benefits there are also challenges of federalism like competition creates competition among region and challenging unity. That is because the region compete with the other region to and see who was very successful to mag-compete sila kung kinsa gyud mas ug kani siya nga region na ani dapat kami pud nga region is naa to. So naay mga mindset na. Then the uneven development, poverty might worsen in poorer region. So uneven siya because not all region was rich and some also there are other region that poor. So that that poor region was mas naay tendency nga mas magkalisod sila because of the sources nga naa tala kay ug gamay ras lang sources then sila pag padagan silang kaugalingon nga region so mas magkalisod sila. Next is the jurisdictional confusion, potentially for ability in national versus regional powers. Jurisdictional confusion siya because, for example, na disaster like flood in a region. The local government start rescue operation, and also the national government also send teams. They both give different orders, so who should be followed? So kasi dapat sundon. So di ba mas tibog siya. And also, in the law enforcement, who handles a crime, local police or national police, especially katong mga dagko ng mga crimes na mahitabo siya sa region, pero unsa ba gyud sa national ba gyud siya dapat. So jurisdiction confusion it can be a conflict or the double work. Confusion can happen with the national and regional government don't clearly define their own rules. Next was ERR ERMM example, or is the ARM example. ARM, it means autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao, which is on 1989 to 2009, it called BARM, or Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. So this place consists Basilan, Lanao, Luzon, Maguindanao, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi. There are similar power like a federal regions. Mas na-up to this like power. Then, pero bisan nga buras nag-federal na, mas nagkalisod gyapon sila sa governance, then na corruption, weak delivery of basic services, and continued conflict and poverty. Giving a region more powers does not guarantee progress if leaders are not affected or accountable. Kung pagtagaan kag more power nila, pero pag imong ang mga leaders, mas dili siya anang unyon bitang kagalingon and anang mangurap-rap, wala gyapon mahitabo. So mas magalitod gyapon. Next is very expensive. Billions of pesos needed to shift the system. So very expensive siya kay in creating infidelities, if a federalism, we need to create a new regional government. We build new building, offices, equipment, and stuff. Then we need to hire more public official governor and vice governors, regional legislators like senators or assembly members, regional courts and judges. Kinahanglan siya kwarta para kung saan man nato pagtukod ug wala tay kwarta, di ba? Pagtukod na billion para wala tay kwarta. Kung siya daw kwarta, and kinahanglan po siya o daghang mga tao mo kay sa staff, sa mga officers na, di ba? Daghan po taga ng pasurduan. So long transition will take a long time for the new system to normalize the iron out peak. So long transition siya because lisod siya kay, di ba, mag-build pa tag new building. So dugay dili din karon mag-build ka ang mga pana. So taas iyang process pa, dili pud lisod pud, o karon nga generation is nata sa unitary system dayon. Well, gabuild ta sa other one sa nag-build ta para mag-build tag building para sa federalism, pero lisod siya and gasto. Then para po, thank you.
So we all have different questions here and relating to our report. And the first question is, how did the 1899 Malolos Constitution reflect the aspirations of the first Philippine Republic for independence and democracy? Analyze its liberal democratic ideals in contrast for colonial governance. So, ang Malolos Constitution 1899 reflected a deep desire of Filipinos to be free from Spanish colonial rule, so that ang mga Filipino maka-form sila government made by Filipinos for Filipinos. And unlike the Spanish colonial governance, there was authoritarian and controlled by both the monarchy and Catholic Church. So, di ba akong gi-mention sa akong part sa akong report nga sa una ang church o ang monarchy kay mag-connect sila. So, ang mga officials kay mukuan pa sila guidance sa mga friars or sa mga priests. So, karon ganahan ang mga Filipinos nga i-separate na silang duha. And so, kaning constitution kay mas mag-focus sila sa service more than sa power. Compared atong mga nakita nato sa pag-govern sa mga Spanish colonial rule. And also, it showed that Filipinos were capable of building a modern and republican governance. After centuries of being controlled by the Spanish colonial rule, and dinhi nato na identify na kita to ang identity as Filipinos, and also ang dignity and self-worth nato as you know, as mga taong na puyo din sa ato ang very own nation nato. And also it was their way of saying, it was also a way their way of saying that we are capable, we have rights, and we we can lead ourselves. So in in to sum it all up, ang Malolos Constitution 1899 was a manifestation of inner strength and confidence within us Filipinos.
So number 2, what were the major influences of the American legal and political system on the 1935 Constitution? Since the 1935 Constitution was written under while the Philippines was under the American rule, it copied many ideals from the Americans. And first is we have the presidential system of government. So the 1935 Constitution adopted a presidential form of government modeled after the United States. It featured 3 equal parts, which is first the executive headed by the president, and next is the legislative. Na dito ang two house Congress, which is the Senate and the House of the Representatives. And next is the judiciary, which is ginakuan siya sa Supreme Court. And next is the Bill of Rights. The Constitution included a Bill of Rights similar to that of the United States, guaranteeing civil liberties like freedom of speech, religion, due process, and protection against unlawful arrest. These rights reflected American democratic values and legal protections. Next is the popular sovereignty and suffrage. The Constitution established that sovereignty resides in the people, reinforcing the American ideal of democracy. It granted voting rights to Filipino citizens and set guidelines for popular elections, much like in the US. So, kaning Bill of Rights is nata every people natay right to vote if naanata sa saktong edad. And number 4 is the independent judiciary. The creation of an independent Supreme Court mirrored the American model, where the judiciary has the power to interpret laws and reviews their constitutionality. This emphasized the rule of law and protection from government abuse. Number 5, Republican ideals. The 1935 Constitution reflected Republican principles, including representative democracy, regular elections, and limited government, all of which were core elements of American political thought. Last is the federal influence but unitary structure. While the US has a federal system, the Philippines retained the unitary government. However, the organization of local governments and their powers still followed American-style legal frameworks and administrative practices. So, ang ato ang 1935 Constitution, it is shaped through American ideals. How did the 1973 Constitution differ in structure and power distribution compared to the 1935 Constitution? So, in 1973 Constitution, made under President Marcos, changed a lot. It switched from a presidential to a parliamentary system with a prime minister.
So, in reality, Marcos kept most of the power, especially after declaring martial law. Congress became weaker and people's rights were limited. So even though it looked like a democracy, it was used to strengthen Marcos' dictatorship. So question number 4. What role did the 1986 EDSA People Power Revolution play in the framing of the 1987 Constitution. So, the 1986 EDSA People Power Revolution played a crucial role in the framing of the 1987 Philippine Constitution. It marked the end of Ferdinand Marcos' authoritarian rule and restored democratic governance under President Corazon Aquino. The EDSA revolution was not only the political force that led to the Constitution's creation, but also the moral compass that guided its content. It helped shape a charter designed to protect democracy and uphold human dignity.
How does the 1987 Constitution protect human rights and promote democracy in comparison to its predecessor? The 1987 Constitution protects human rights and promotes democracy by creating strong checks and balances between the three branches of government, the executive, legislative, and judiciary, so that no one can abuse power like during martial law. It limits the president's powers, especially during emergencies like declaring martial law, which now can only last for 60 days and must be approved or cancelled by the Congress and the Supreme Court. It also promotes civil liberties by stating the preamble and articles that the Philippines is a democratic and republican state and that sovereignty belongs to the people. The Constitution ensures free election, the party list system to give voice to underrepresented sectors, and the office of the Ombudsman to investigate corrupt officials. The Supreme Court is independent, protecting people's rights by reviewing laws and government actions. The 1987 Constitution learned from the past abuses and built strong protections for freedom, justice, and people's power.
So, number 6, was the 1973 Constitution legitimately ratified or was it imposed through authoritarian means under Marcos? So, ang 1973 Constitution ay hindi tunay na naipasa sa isang demokratikong paraan. Sa halip, ito ay pinatupad sa ilalim ng authoritariang pamumuno ni Ferdinand Marcos. Noong panahong iyon, nasa ilalim ng batas militar ang bansa at maraming kritiko, delegado at oposisyon ay pinatahimik o inaresto. Imbis na isang malayang plebisito, ginamit ni Marcos ang tinatawag na citizens assemblies upang di umano'y aprubahan ang bagong saligang batas. Isang proseso na pinuna dahil sa kakulangan ng transparency, malayong debate at tunay na boto mula sa taong bayan.
Question number 7. Does the 1987 Constitution effectively address the root causes of poverty, inequality, and corruption in the Philippines? Debate whether constitutional reform is needed for socio-economic development. So, the 1987 Constitution has a good goals like helping the poor, promoting fairness, and stopping corruption. But many of these goals have not been fully reached. So some people say we need the change the constitution to fix the economy and local governance, while the others believe that the problem is not the constitution, but the leaders who do not follow the proper guidelines.
The Philippines shift to federal or parliamentary system through constitutional amendment or charter change. So the Philippines should not shift federal or parliamentary system for now. It's because the country is not fully prepared. Some regions still lack resources and capacity to govern on their own. The cost of changing the rule system is too high, billions of pesos. It may lead to more confusion, uneven development, and more corruption during the transition. Some proposals are political political motivated, not focused on helping the people. Instead, instead of changing the system, the government should focus first to improve the local governance or government and reducing corruption and providing equal development to all areas. The last question. How have political interests influenced proposals to amend or reverse the Constitution throughout Philippine history? So, throughout Philippine history, many constitutional amendment proposals have been linked to the political agendas of those in power. Some aim to lift them limits, extend tenure, or shift power structures to benefit certain leaders or groups. These moves often face strong public resistance as people feared by were not for national progress but for self-interest. This pattern shows how elite and partisan interests often shape the push of constitutional change.